Brittany here with day 58 of our 67 days towards our own at-home practice. And we're going to continue our exploration of balance. This is a new week, but we're actually going to combine the rest of our practice, which is only 10 days left in our practice, to explore the art of balance, which is both the yin and the yang qualities of balance. And that may not make much sense to you right now, and that's fine. It's going to make a lot more sense to you over the next 10 days. We're going to start off exploring the more yin side of life. To put it simply, if we have a light shining down on us, there's the bright picture that's more active and filled with understanding, and then behind whatever that we're shining a light on, there's some dark that's illuminating because that physical object is in the way, so there's a nice shadow behind it. The shadow behind is what is the more yin side of life, to put it as simply as possible. The more darker side of life, that's filled with our earthly experiences, and it can be perceived as a bit more cold. And this is also what we associate with the divine feminine, that's more passive and inwardly focused. So that's going to be our exploration this week. I'm really excited. The yin yoga is a whole variety of yoga. So we're going to be using the postures that we've already learned in a yin fashion, which will teach you what that means when it's on a yoga schedule too. Okay? So let's get started just tuning into the breath, sliding the palms into the body, deep breaths in. Complete breaths out. As we inhale, filling our belly, letting go of our abdomen, and as we exhale, letting it all go. Deep breaths in, complete breaths out. We're going to bring our hands to heart center, setting an intention for our practice. Today, I offer you the intention of satya, or honesty, and being honest with yourself. That's how we're going to really explore our true internal nature, is if when our thoughts are roaming through, we're not labeling them or trying to judge them or telling the world what they mean. Instead, learning about ourselves, taking this time to be honest with ourselves and not just tell ourselves the story that's the most empowering. If that's a nourishing intention, if not, setting any other intention that'll keep our mind on our mat. Then grounding the palms, sliding them back into the body, using our Ujjayi breath to calm and center our consciousness, inhaling through our nose, constricting our throat on exhale. Deep breaths in, complete breaths out. Finding our calm, finding our center. 4 more Ujjayi breaths here. Sitting back on our tailbone, shoulders wide. Breathing in, filling the belly. Exhale, letting it all go. Returning to our deep belly breathing whenever we're ready. Then opening our eyes, we are going to start our practice on our backs. I am not wildly familiar with yin yoga. I've only taken a couple classes, but I have done a couple hours of research on it. So I'm going to use this as a guide to make sure that I'm not steering you in any wrong direction, okay? Setting this up over here. We're going to start off down on our backs with our lying twists. In our yin practice, we're focused on really drawing ourselves internal. So we're going to do just a couple postures with 9-second holds. Starting off, bring our knees into our chest. Rocking side by side, just loosening up our lower back. And then releasing our knees to 90 degrees, palms out to the side. And when we're ready, letting our gaze come to the right as our knees come over to the left side. Staying here for 9 deep breaths. Keeping our shoulders grounded. Letting our knees go to wherever they would like to. If you're having trouble getting your knees to the ground and it feels uncomfortable here, Yin is all about finding our comfort, our personal comfort. So taking our knees and allowing them to rest on a block while we focus on our breath. Stretch is really for our side body, so just breathing into any tension we're feeling. Exhale, letting it out. This posture is great in the beginning of a sequence because it starts to open our lungs, opening up our obliques. When we're ready, pressing through our fingers, bringing our knees back to center, allowing our gaze to come over to the left side as our knees come right. Deep breaths in, complete breaths out. Finding our own internal comfort, finding our own internal peace. Embracing our own internal contentment. 2 more nice deep breaths here. Then gently bringing our knees back to center, grounding our feet, pressing through our toes, lifting our backs. Putting our block underneath our low back, a book or anything that feels nice and supportive. If we don't have anything, we can also use our hands here, just to making sure that our lower back is supported and we're not working on activating much tension. Our Yin practice is more about letting our body do the work, setting it into the right place, and then passively letting the effects take place. Deep breaths in. Complete breaths out. Remembering to inhale and let go of the abdomen, really filling up the belly. And as we exhale, letting it all go. As we focus more on the passive action, we can use our own conscious awareness to do the easier things, like keeping our breath, focusing on our inhales, and then just gently engaging, figuring out a nice, comfortable way to get all of our air out on exhale. And while we won't be learning any inversions in our 67 days, in this 67 days at least, I will teach you the start of an inversion that can come from our bridge pose and is very yin focused because it helps calm and center our mind. We can begin to lift 1 foot up at a time, keeping our block under our lower back or using our hands to support our side. And then when we're ready, gently lifting the left foot up. Before we do, making sure that our block is steady, making any adjustments we need to, and bringing both feet up. Similar to our Viparita Karani, this is our supported shoulder stand. Deep breaths in. Complete breaths out. If we're feeling a lot of tension in our hamstrings, we can bend the knees. Just finding something that doesn't feel too active, rather just passive and comfortable. Taking 3 more nice belly breaths here. Your mind should start to feel a lot more calm. For a lot of us, this calm could feel cold. It could feel almost numb. And that's actually what we're looking for in our yin side of life. That spot that just feels free and not much attached to anything around us that we feel like we need to move into action. Just embracing all that is. And gently bending the knees, grounding the feet, pressing through the toes, and removing our support. Finding our breath, deep breaths in, complete breaths out. Allowing both knees to come to our chest as we rock into our seat. We're going to take our block for this next posture and put it between our calves, gently engaging our calves towards one another, finding our comfort. We can move it from here. This may be a little idealistic for some of us, but we'll figure it out as we go along. Coming into our forward fold, inhaling our arms up and exhaling, folding forward, allowing our third eye to gently rest on our block. Deep breaths in, complete breaths out, allowing our hands to find a place of comfort, whether that's on the bottom of our feet, our shins, grabbing hold of our toes, and just breathing in here. Deep breaths in, complete breaths out, keeping the toes facing up towards the ceiling as best we can without holding too much tension. This is a really awesome posture for yin because these folds, as we know, help us release our anxiety and our worries, help our internal world be nice, clear, and free. Deep breaths in, complete breaths out. Just 3 more here. Ujjayi if our mind's really racing. Then releasing the hands, sliding up the body, stacking the spine, 1 vertebrae at a time. We're going to gently remove our block to the side. And before we go into our actual balancing, gently turn around, coming onto our hands and our knees. We're going to still use our block. We'll put it out in front of us. We're going to be coming into our pigeon pose in a different way. So, for a lot of us, this may not be the most nourishing for us. So we can also use our lizard. I'll try that. I'll start us out here in case we want to just stay in our lizard. Coming into our lovely low lunge, bringing our hands inside, bringing our block inside. Let's start with it facing nice and high, grounding our forehead on it, starting to embrace this hip opening. Gently opening it up, let our body coming into place, taking tension off of our hands. Putting our body in a position that's balanced and remaining here. We want a little bit more. Coming into our pigeon. Finding our center. And again, folding forward, resting our head on our block. Deep breaths in. Complete breaths out. Wherever we're at, 7 more deep breaths here, breathing into our tension and letting attention go from the body, away from the shoulders, so that we're only focused on the body part that we're stretching, that we're opening, that we're realigning. Deep breaths in, complete breaths out. Just 3 more. Gently removing our block, walking our hands up, lifting our chest, and switching sides. Bringing our right foot back to meet our left. Bringing our left foot forward in our low lunge. Starting off, gently coming into our lizard, finding our comfort, maybe coming onto the side of the foot when we want a little bit more, or walking ourselves slowly, gently, gracefully, being very attentive to our body, into our pigeon. Lowering our head down, lowering our forearms, deep breaths in, complete breaths out. Making any adjustments we need to feel comfortable. 7 more breaths here. Keeping our hips centered and breathing into the tension. Three more nice deep breaths here. Gently releasing our block, walking our hands in, bringing our left knee to meet our right, coming onto our feet. Now we spent this time developing this yin mindset, this more internally focused, internally clear mindset, so that we can see how it helps us to balance. We're going to come into starting our week off with our tree pose. Each day we'll have a different pose as we explore our yin to see how our yin helps us with it. Gazing into our point of focus, nice deep inhale, complete exhale. Bringing the palms out to the side, centering our feet, gentle knees, centered hips, centered shoulders. Allowing our right knee to come off the mat. Gently lifting our knee up, bringing it out to the side, coming into our tree. Hands to heart center. Allowing our right foot to find its place on our left leg. Deep breaths in. Complete breaths out. Five more breaths just like this. Finding our center, finding our calm, clearing our mind into our point of focus. Starting to make our balancing feel a lot more effortless during our yin phase. Deep breaths in, complete breaths out. While we're exploring yin, while we're exploring effortless and passive motion, those of us struggling to balance, let's place our toes on the mat, lightly and gracefully, so that we make this a little bit easier on us. When we're ready, arms out to the side, our knee out in front of us, grounding our foot as we gently lift the left heel, coming right back into the other side, inhaling our knee up, gracefully placing it out to the side, hands into the chest, finding our comfort, which makes this pose the most passive and comfortable for us. Deep breaths in, complete breaths out. Just 5 more here. Ujjayi breaths if lots of thoughts are on the mind. When we're ready, and only when we're ready, gently extending the arms up, bringing our knee forward, and grounding our foot. Now you get to see how yin practicing, how practicing on just focusing on our internal world with support, with things there to help us, how that helps us gain a different kind of mind to go into our balance. Maybe you didn't feel much difference than yesterday. Maybe you did. Figuring that out in you and taking your time to explore that. I hope you enjoy that. Now let's get into our Savasana. We are also going to be doing tree pose again this week on our 5th day, and I think you're going to really also like the yin version I'm going to teach you. So I'm excited about that. I just want to share that. Before we come into our Savasana, hands on our knees, chin into our chest, coming onto our back, one vertebrae at a time, releasing our tension. Ooh, a nice pillow. Hands to the side. Deep breaths in. Complete breaths out. Bringing our attention to our body, the mental body scan, releasing tension from our toes, from the soles of our feet and our heels, from our ankles, shins, and calves. Gently assisting the body into comfort, then bringing attention to the knees, the shins, the thighs, front and back, the belly and hips and low back. Bringing attention to our chest and upper back, our shoulders and our neck. Bringing attention down our arms, through our elbows, forearms, and wrists. And when we're ready, bring your attention to that spot right between our eyes, letting it know for the next 1 minute we have nowhere to go and nowhere to be but right here, right now, listening only to the sounds and feeling only the sensations in our immediate present. Returning our breath to our everyday normal breathing. Our only responsibility is to be here now. When we're ready, and only when we're ready, bringing attention back to the body, massaging the fingers and the toes amongst one another. Bringing our knees one at a time into the chest, hands to our heart, rocking over to our right side, into our sleeping baby, preparing our body for motion. Bring attention back to the breath, deep breath in, complete breath out, and pressing through the ground, coming back to our seat, bringing our hands together at heart center, closing our eyes, reflecting on the intention we set in the beginning of our practice. Only moments in which we met it. Ending our practice, bowing to one another, bowing to our beautiful bodies, and honoring the light within each of us, which is the same. Namaste. I hope you are liking the start of our Yin Week. If you're not, that's fine too. It's still a part of life, and we're going to learn about it, and then maybe we can make you like it. Okay? I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for another great practice. Bye.